Tinny from Mini Bowl Design, and today I want to talk about the YouTube channel and the comments that are placed on them. Okay, I got a lot to say here, so I got to get moving. The problem with the comments on the website is you don't know the person who's commenting, and they don't really know you. Hopefully they've watched your 700 videos and they know me, but obviously a lot of them haven't. And I certainly don't know them. So when they make a comment, if they cop an attitude or say something that's really bizarre, although they may be correct, from my perspective, not knowing them, they're going to come off looking like a crackpot. I'm going to give you a couple of examples of that. Maybe just one was a pretty good example. I got a comment from a person who, like I say, I have no idea who this person is or what their background is. It could be a 12-year-old kid. You know, it could be anybody. And they said that, basically in a nutshell, what they said was, doesn't matter what you have for a water filter, eventually, if you use it on a regular basis, you're going to cross-contaminate your water, and unless you have a high immune system, you're going to get sick. Well, not knowing the person or anything about them, that seemed like a really bizarre statement. And I commented back, so let me get this straight. What you're saying is, every single person on the planet who's using a water filter is basically going to cross-contaminate their water and get sick. That's bizarre. You know, sounds like the person's got a mental problem to me, or lives in a sterile bubble. So anyway, next comment, which should have been the first comment, they said that they had hiked the Appalachian Trail 7 times, and that they had a high enough immune system so that if they ingested beaver fever, or Giardia, however it's pronounced, that it didn't bother them. They had an immune system that would handle it. Okay, now I understand, and now I see that my remark was off-center. But you have to look at it from my point of view. I didn't know this person from Adam, and that first comment was really bizarre. So here's my point. Take that into account before you comment. If you have some credibility, as this person did, for example, I think probably the comment should have been worded, I've hiked the Appalachian Trail 7 times. My immune system is good because of that. In the environment I've been in with a lot of dirt and beaver fever around me, I've developed an immunity to it, and if I'm careful, I don't even have to use a filter. In fact, I've never been sick hiking on the Appalachian Trail because I have a good immune system and I can tolerate anything like that, as people did before filters were invented. Okay, good. Now that I can understand, and that's something that I wasn't sure of, but that's a really good point. Now here's my point. The people that I'm talking to and advising in my limited way are not 7-time AT hikers. Most of them are weekend warriors or deck packers. And I'm going to hazard a guess here that 99.99% of them do not have as strong an immune system as this person did. And I'm pretty sure that if they got a dose of beaver fever, that it would be severe and long-term, as it would be for me. So for those people, the people that I'm talking to on a regular basis, a water filter is an extremely important part of your pack. And without it, it's inevitable that drinking out of open sources, you would get sick fairly soon. So that's my point of view. So you're taking somebody that's in an extreme different situation, who has an extremely high immune system, and he's trying to compare his experience to the guy that's drinking sterile bottled water all the time and then goes out into the wild where beaver fever is. Two separate things. And that's the reason why that gets all mixed up. It's just a matter of not being able to see the person's perspective, or the person not explaining themselves properly. So before you make a comment, think about the situation and the people you're talking to. If you make a comment on my blog, you're going to be talking to a whole bunch of people who don't backpack all the time, who don't have a good immune system, and aren't that familiar with the gear, a lot of them. So take that into account. Second off, he is correct. If you use a filter day in and day out, it's inevitable, depending on the system. It's the better the system, and I'll get to that in a minute, it's inevitable that you will cross-contaminate. And that brings me to the point of my system, and I'll tell you how I try very hard not to cross-contaminate. My number one thing is I never put dirty water in any of my containers, ever. Because once they've had dirty water in them, if you happen to forget to rinse them out and put clean water in them, you've got contaminated water, cross-contamination. Okay, my filter has an in and an out. It will only pump on the in. So the in always has the micron filter hooked to it. Now, I don't take that off, and I never put anything on the other end unless I'm back flushing it, and I usually don't back flush out on the trail. So as long as that pipe is always on the in, and that end always goes in the water, everything that comes out the other end, as long as it's going through the filter, theoretically will always be good. And I always pump right directly from the filter, right directly into a clean container. So it goes from dirty water and pond, through pre-filter, through the Hyperflow 0.2 micron filter, and into a clean bag. And I never deviate from that. I've never had to back flush my filter out on the trail, but if I did, I would really take my time and make sure I didn't cross-contaminate when I did it. Although if I was going to cross-contaminate, that's probably where it would happen. So that brings up to point 3. If you're using a Sawyer gravity feed filter, you've got to have a bag or a container on the bottom that the clean water is going into. You've got to have a bag on the top that your dirty water is going to be collected in, and you've got to have tubing from the bag to the filter and tubing from the filter to the bag. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, a couple clips, the filter. You've got like 6 to 10 items that you're working with, which altogether weigh way more than my Hyperflow. So, and that top bag has to be dedicated just to dirty water. Now, there's a much higher degree of difficulty there and a much better chance of cross-contaminating. In fact, with that system, I'm pretty sure that I would be cross-contaminating on a regular basis. It's just too much stuff, and you put this inside of that and cross-contaminates this, and that runs over and you get the wrong one. Too much stuff, too complicated. So that's what I don't like about it. Second thing I don't like about it is, since it's not pressure fed, it's gravity fed, it has very little pressure to force anything through the Sawyer filter. And it is a hollow fiber filter, and it is 0.1 micron. It's going to plug up really quick. And I don't see where they really supply any pre-filter for it. So no pre-filter, so it's getting a pretty good dose of dirt. It's not pressurized, so it has very little to force the water through it. You're setting yourself up for a plug filter fairly quickly, and I haven't seen any way on the trail to pressure the water through this backwards and back flush it. They say it can be done, but I haven't really seen anything anywhere where anybody's actually shown that it actually could be done out on the trail correctly, and once again without cross-contaminating. So I'm not impressed with the Sawyer filter. That's just me. If you're using it and it's working fine for you, great. That's just me, and I don't like that filter. Second off, the ones I saw at Walmart a while back, comically, and I know this is hard to believe, filter's this big around, and you look inside of it, and the hollow fiber, although the container is this big around, the hollow fiber is about the size of my little finger. There's no more hollow fiber in it than there is in my Hyperflow, and it's 0.1 instead of 0.2, and my Hyperflow will plug up very easily, even under pressure. So I'm thinking, yeah, great big tube, not full of hollow fiber, and as hard as this may be to believe, as near as I could tell from playing with it, it was a styrene case, and it's got a couple of lightning holes in it and stuff. It looked to me like you could snap the knob right off on it. I'm sure the other ones aren't that way, but the ones at Walmart, pretty chintzy. And it did not look backpacking quality to me. It looked kind of delicate and minimal. So that's my spin on that. I'm Tinny from Mini Bull Design. Get out and hike. Take a friend. Enjoy the great outdoors. And more important than anything, leave no trace, filter your water, and have a really great day. Bye-bye.